What's up, YouTube? 大家好，皆さんこんにちは. This is Ben Parker back with another YouTube video. This time it's March Madness themed. All right. And I'm repping my Nanjing Monkey King shirt, which is my favorite Chinese Basketball Association team. And for those that don't know, Monkey King in Chinese is Ho Wang. So Ho Wang, jiao. So go Monkey Kings. They're having a terrible season right now in the CBA, so yeah, they're really big. They're really bad. Fortunately, we're not talking about the Nanjing Monkey Kings. We're talking about the NCAA Tournament today, and I'm going to reveal to everybody my predictions for the NCAA Tournament. Last month, I did a video that was called 10 Tips to Having a Successful March Madness Bracket, and I said that I would reveal my picks on YouTube and hold myself accountable and stick to my advice. So let's get into that. So, in case you want to review that video, that's on my channel. I'll also link to that video in the description below. As a comment, I'll pin it, so it'll be there for you guys to watch. But as a quick refresher, my 10 tips to having a successful March Madness bracket are as follows. 1, don't shoot for perfection, shoot for high probability. 2, when in doubt, pick the higher seed. 8 versus 9 is always a toss-up. 3, don't have a team seed lower than 4th in your Final Four unless you are really confident in that team. 4, excuse me. 4, don't pick 16 or 15 seeds to advance. That's obvious. 5, strength of schedule matters. Record versus top 25, BPI, RPI, net, etc. 6, 12-5, 11-6 are sweet spots for upsets. Those are the key ones to watch out for. Look for strength of schedule, record of last 10 games, and turning experience. Number 7, please remember upsets are upsets. So teams are seated higher for a reason. Okay. 8, coaching matters. 9, look out for injuries. I'll be honest with you guys, I didn't do as much injury research really, but it's still one to look into. And then 10 is don't fall in love with the team. Use your head. Okay. As far as like who I have, I'll just kind of cut to the chase really quickly here. So I have a Final Four consisting of Gonzaga, Texas, Ohio State, Illinois, with Gonzaga beating Texas in the Final Four and Illinois beating Ohio State in the Final Four, making it the Gonzaga-Illinois championship with Gonzaga defeating Illinois 79-73. So that's once again 1 Gonzaga versus 3 Texas, 2 Ohio State versus 1 Illinois, with both the 1 seeds, Illinois and Gonzaga, advancing, with Gonzaga defeating Illinois 79-73. That's my Final Four. Okay. As far as some surprises that I have, in terms of possible upsets in the West region, I have 12 UCSB knocking off 5 Creighton. I've got 9 Missouri beating 8 Oklahoma, although as I said, 8-9s aren't really upsets, but yeah, so that's the West region. I got UCSB winning their first round matchup, the 12 seed, and 9 Missouri. Going on to the South region, I've got 9 Wisconsin beating 8 North Carolina. Once again, not really an upset. I got 12 Winthrop beating 5 Villanova, and I got 10 Virginia Tech beating number 7 Florida. And then obviously in the Elite 8, I do have 2 Ohio State beating 1 Baylor. So that's kind of an upset because a lot of people got Baylor going the distance in their brackets. I'm sure of that. Moving on to Midwest region, I have, like I said, I got Illinois beating 3 West Virginia in the Elite 8, so Illinois advancing to the Final Four. But the reason why I don't have number 2 Houston there is because I have 7 Clemson, excuse me, 7 Clemson knocking off 2-seeded Houston in the round of 32. So I got Clemson in the Sweet 16. That's kind of a surprise. And then moving on to the last quadrant, which is the East, I got 1 Michigan beating 3 Texas. I got 3 Texas beating 1 Michigan. My bad. I have 3 Texas beating 1 Michigan, and I have 3 Texas beating 2 Alabama. So I have Michigan and Texas meeting the Elite 8 with Texas, not Michigan, Texas, in the Final Four. So yeah, yeah. So Texas winning the East region, Gonzaga winning the West region, Ohio State winning the South, and Illinois winning the Midwest. So that's my Final Four: Gonzaga, Texas, Illinois, Ohio State. Gonzaga beating Texas, Illinois beating Ohio State, and Gonzaga beating Illinois in the championship 79-73. I should mention I do have number 12 seed Georgetown reaching the Sweet 16. I have them knocking off Colorado. Okay, so that's the nut of it. Once again, Gonzaga, Texas, Ohio State, Illinois, Gonzaga over Illinois in the final, with Clemson, 7 seed, and 12 seeded Georgetown kind of being my two surprise teams to reach the Sweet 16. The rest of it is pretty much chalk the rest of the way. And that kind of goes back to what I was saying, which is, look, I don't want to have too many upsets. I try to pick a couple that I think are possible, going back to what I said about 12 fives, and those kind of being your sweet spots. Yeah, so let's now, what I'll now do, now that you kind of have the nut of it, you have my Final Four, you have my national champion, you have a couple of Sweet 16 picks I have. If you want to move on from the video and do other things with your life, go for it. And if you want to stick around and see why I have some of the picks that I do, so that you can mock me later when I get them wrong, then stick around. So I'm going to share my screen really quickly with you guys so you guys can see my bracket. Okay. Here we go. So, yeah, my bracket, by the way, is called Monkey Kings. So Nanji Monkey Kings is my bracket's name. So yeah, I mean, let's kind of look into the West region. I mean, there's not a lot to talk about with the West region, honestly. I got Gonzaga, the 1 seed in that region, taking the thing. I have them going all the way, actually, for that matter, but I have them winning the West region. And there just wasn't any teams in the West that really, like, to me at least, really threatened them too much. Missouri Tigers, coached by Conzo Martin, who I got to know when he was at Cal. He gets his guys to play hard. Good defensive teams usually, but not enough. Virginia historically has kind of struggled to go all the way. I know they did win it with Tony Bennett one year, but they're not always reliable. So I don't know. I just didn't see a lot of resistance there for the Zags, honestly. And the thing about Gonzaga too, everybody, is Gonzaga, like, they haven't, played a ton of ranked teams. They're 4-0, but they are 4-0 against them. And whenever they have played a ranked team this year, like, they've won, like, pretty handily. So they're for real. The Zags are the real freaking deal. They're really, really good. So yeah, that's them. And then, with Winthrop over Villanova, that was all about Winthrop just coming in really hot, and Villanova's won 5 of their last 10. So I just felt like with Winthrop, they lost like one game all year, coming in hot. That's a 12/5 that I could easily see happening. And then Virginia Tech, Florida. Virginia Tech, really quickly, they're 4-0 against ranked teams, and Florida's 2-2. I just felt like I feel like Virginia Tech has just done better than Florida. And Florida, to me, the 2-2 versus top 25 teams is not super impressive. So Florida's good. They very well could beat Virginia Tech, could be wrong on that, but Virginia Tech over Florida just felt good to me, based upon that. And then jumping ahead to Ohio State Baylor, because this is probably the one that, like, a lot of people probably are going to question me on. The fact of the matter is that Baylor's only lost 2 games all year. Yeah, they're 7-2 against top 25 teams. But when Baylor has lost, like, they've lost, like, pretty decisively. When they lost to Kansas, it was pretty decisive. When they lost to Oklahoma State, it was pretty decisive. So it wasn't like 1 point, 2 point kind of. It was like 9 points, 13 points kind of losses. So, like, when Baylor loses, they lose, like, legitimately. So I don't know, like, as good as Baylor's been this year, they've shown that they're vulnerable and they're beatable. And Ohio State has come through a really difficult Big Ten, and they've beaten Illinois this year once. And Illinois is a 1 seed. So I don't know. To me, like Ohio State over Baylor is very, very possible. Um, and I already had Gonzaga and Illinois getting there. I don't see 3 number 1 seeds getting there. So Ohio State over Baylor could be wrong. That's kind of the rationale for that. Arkansas is coming in smoking hot. They've won like 9 of the last 10 games, I think. So they're like on a freaking roll right now. So Arkansas getting to the Sweet 16 also feels right. So that's the South region in a nutshell. And then moving on down to the Midwest quadrant. Moving on to the Midwest quadrant. Illinois has been just absolutely fantastic, like all season long, just shredding fools. So they're going to be difficult to stop. I got them facing Loyola Chicago in the second round of 32. I don't see Loyola Chicago beating them. Oklahoma State with Cade Cunningham, top pick in the draft, potentially. That's a guy that, that's a situation where they absolutely, could win because Cade Cunningham is that good. But one guy doesn't win it all for you. And Oklahoma State's a 4 for a reason. And Illinois is just a more complete team. So Illinois beating them feels right to me. And then, with Clemson here, the reason why I'm not feeling Houston is Houston's schedule just didn't jump out at me as that impressive. Houston is 1-0 against top 25 teams. They've only played one ranked team all year. And like they lost to like Eastern Carolina this year. And maybe even lost to Tulsa too. So I don't know, like the 3 losses they had were in league and like they weren't super impressive. Like there's no such thing as a good loss, by the way, but like the teams they lost to like weren't that great. So like I don't know, like I'm a little surprised Houston has a 2 seed. Like I mean I'm sure the committee knows what they're doing, but that's a 2 seed. It's a high seed team I could see going out early. And Clemson coming from the ACC, 2-1 against top 25 teams. Your BPI rank is pretty good. I mean I know theirs is 3, but I don't know. I could be way off from this, and I might eat dirt for this one, but I feel like Clemson's got a real shot there. So, but then as I said, if you're going to pick an upset and have a team going deep, I got Clemson Sweet 16. You can't get too excited about it. So, West Virginia is there to meet them. They're beating a good San Diego State team, and then West Virginia will fall to Illinois. So that's the Midwest region. And then moving on down to the East region. I've got Georgetown. Georgetown's won like 4 or 5 games in a row. And I think they're going to beat Colorado. You guys know I cover CalHoopsRevivals.com. So, I follow the Pac-12 really closely. And none of the Pac-12 teams honestly impressed me that much. Actually, ironically, the one team that impressed me most is Oregon State just for winning the Pac-12 tournament. So props to them for winning the Pac-12 tournament. But everybody else in the Pac-12 tournament like just didn't impress me. Other teams that got there, Colorado, barely beat Cal, and Cal is terrible. As one that covers Cal, I can say that with confidence. Cal is just terrible this year, is what it is. So they barely beat them. And they barely beat USC, and then they lost to Oregon State at the championship. So I'm not feeling Colorado, and Georgetown's coming in hot, won 4 or 5 games in a row, and won the Big East tournament, and smoked Creighton. Just absolutely smoked Creighton. Yeah, that's what I got there. So I have them beating Colorado, and then I got Georgetown right on that way in the Sweet 16. It feels good to me. Florida State's a perfectly legitimate legitimate squad. They're 2-0 against top 25 teams, but Georgetown's won more games against top 25 teams. Granted, it's 3-4, but they've played ranked teams. They've handled them pretty well. So I don't know. So Georgetown 2016, I like that. And then I got Maryland over UConn. And with UConn, the 0-4 versus top 25 was just a big red flag to me. You haven't beat a ranked team this year. I don't see you winning. And then I got BYU winning their first round matchup. I think BYU's a good team. I wouldn't be shocked to see BYU reach the Sweet 16. But the problem is that I have them running into one of my Final Four teams in the second round, Texas. And Texas is really, really good. Texas is 7-6 against top 25 teams. They won the Big 12 tournament. They're the real deal. And I got them beating Alabama as well. Alabama's 1-3 against top 25 teams. Kind of came on late, came on hot as season went on. But lost to Stanford beginning of the year, and Stanford wasn't very good this year. Either Stanford came off the rail, fell apart this year. That was obviously earlier in the season, but still, the 1-3 versus top 25 teams just doesn't impress me versus Texas 7-6. So I got Texas there. And then Texas versus Michigan. This one's tough. This one's honestly tough. But I just kind of felt looking at the latest schedules and the momentum that Texas has, the Big 12 tournament championship, that I think they're gonna pull it out. So that's my Final Four. And then I can stop sharing my screen because you guys have seen it. I do want to go over now why I have Gonzaga over Texas and Illinois over Ohio State, and then Gonzaga ultimately winning it. So I got Gonzaga over Texas because one of the things I talked about with Gonzaga earlier is that every time Gonzaga has faced a ranked team this year, they've dominated. Gonzaga's undefeated. Just so you guys all know, they're undefeated. Haven't lost a game all year. I got my Sharpies here too. Some all officials. I talk about this. Here we go, like this. But Gonzaga is undefeated this year. And every time they faced a ranked team, they've won going away. So they're the real deal. They're not to be messed with. And as good as Texas is, I do not see Texas beating them. So I got Gonzaga beating them. It's a 1/3. So also $2 again. When in doubt, pick the higher seed. And then Illinois has beaten with Ohio State. The factor for me was the fact that Illinois has defeated Ohio State 2 out of 3 times this year. And I mean, Ohio State could even get even with them. It's possible. It happens, teams, back and forth kind of affair. But I think Illinois will find a way to get it done against them. And then with Gonzaga against Illinois, one of the things I don't believe in is the gambler's fallacy. I don't believe that because you've won 27, 28 games in a row, you're likely to lose. I don't think it's true that it's good to lose before you reach the tournament. If you're undefeated, you're undefeated, right? And Gonzaga's undefeated for a reason. They've been phenomenal all season long. And I know it's not been done since I think Bobby Knight's 75 Indiana team. I could be wrong, but I think it was that year, that team to go undefeated and finish undefeated. But it's going to have to happen again. Gonzaga they look like the real deal this year. And I don't want to. And the other thing too is, as good as Illinois has been this year, it's not like Illinois is coming in with 1 loss or 2 losses, whatever. They have lost some games this year. Granted, the Big Ten's a beast, so the best conference in the country. So it's not realistic to expect any team to come out of the Big Ten with just 1 or 2 losses. But Illinois has shown at times some vulnerability, and it's not like they're coming in super, super, super hot and unbeatable looking. So they are a vulnerable 1 seed. And the other thing too with Gonzaga is Gonzaga's been there. Mark Few has been there with this team. They've been to a final. They've come close. Gonzaga has been knocking at the door. And honestly, these other teams in the Final Four are teams that haven't been like Gonzaga has, and that experience matters. And so that's why I've got Gonzaga winning it all. And then the final score, it's just, who knows, right? 79-73. But yeah, I tried my best with my bracket here, guys, to stick to my rules. I didn't have a team seated lower than fourth in my Final Four because there's nobody that really stood out to me in that group that I liked. I did pick some 12 seeds to advance. I did try to pick some upsets. Number 12 UCSB over 5 Creighton. As I said earlier, UCSB's coming in hot. They got some couple of really talented kids in Miles Norris and Amadou Sal, a couple 4-star recruits that were 4-star recruits at high school. So they got a legitimate, high major level roster, some high major level guys. And then Creighton is just coming in not with a lot of momentum right now. They got shredded by Georgetown in the Big East championship game, and their coach got suspended for making some racist type remarks. So there's some turmoil at Creighton right now. So that's why I got UCSB there. Missouri, I got them winning once again just because of the Conzo Martin connection I got, and I think he can get them there. Trying to think some other kind of loose ends. Pac-12 teams. I'm a Pac-12 guy, but I have no Pac-12 teams in the Sweet 16. None of the Pac-12 teams to me have shown that they have an ability to reach the Sweet 16. They could reach Sweet 16, but I'm just not feeling them when I'm looking at the bracket. I don't see Oregon, don't see USC. I don't see, not Oregon State, obviously. Or Colorado, the way Colorado came in, limping. They're kind of limping into I said limping in, but as I said, they squeaked by a very bad Cal team and barely beat USC, and then lost rather convincingly to Oregon State that honestly shouldn't have been in the championship game, although props to the Beavers. Then the Georgetown Sweet 16 and the Clemson. So I got a couple of kind of interesting ones that could backfire, but going back to my first point about don't shoot for perfection, shoot for high probability. I've got a 1 seed, a 3 seed, a 2 seed, and a 1 in the Final Four. 1 Gonzaga, 3 Texas, 2 Ohio State, 1 Illinois. That's a pretty reasonable Final Four, everybody. I might be wrong on this, but it's a pretty reasonable, safe Final Four, and realistic, right? So you're rarely going to get all 4 1s reaching the Final Four, right? You can go straight chalk, but that's not always going to get it done. You got to pick some upsets. You got to get a little creative with it, but you don't want to go overboard. And it's all about winning the bracket too, the bracket pool, right? It's about doing better than other people. So it's not about having the perfect bracket. It's about being better than other people. Remember that. I think I've gone on long enough on this. You guys know my picks. I've got Gonzaga beating Illinois in the championship, with Texas and Ohio State reaching the Final Four. We'll see if I'm right. If I'm wrong, you guys can leave all your hate comments below. I'm a man. I can take it. Good luck with your brackets, everybody. If you guys want to connect with me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, the handle is slamdunk406. That's it. Happy March Madness, and good luck with your brackets. I really hope everybody does well. Thanks for watching. If you've watched this video all the way to the end, I really do appreciate it. And feel free to subscribe to my channel in case you want more of my random thoughts on college hoops, as well as my Japanese journey and any other random stuff that I might upload. So thank you very much. Have a good night. Peace.